I think it's fair to say that there was very little to laugh or smile about in terms of Clare's outing in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in the Munster Hurling Championship, and certainly nothing much either in the footballers in Páirc Uí Chaoimh the previous day. Good results though for the Camogie and ladies football, winning start to the All-Ireland Championship for the Eugene Foodie side, and the ladies footballers capturing the Munster B title, and of course both minor sides winning as well. So it was a mixed weekend, but Derek Dormer's with us to look back on. Maybe we'll give it a senior focus. We do a sideline review tonight that will go into everything in a lot more detail, but let's focus on those two games first, I suppose. We'll start with Páirc Uí Chaoimh yesterday.
It's beautiful sunshine, Derek, and you're trying to depress me already.
Unfortunately we have to do it. I'd love to be in Spanish Pint with a 99 as well, let me tell you, but anyway, we'll get there eventually. I suppose we speculated here on Friday how motivated Clare would be to win this game. What would it mean in the longer term, coming 8 days after a monumental effort below Thurles? Take us through your thoughts on it.
I don't think motivation was a factor. I genuinely do feel they were motivated, representing the county. The narrative may have been different had we capitalised on early goal chances, and test Cork. But like when we didn't, we probably left behind 2-2 in the opening 10 minutes. And that would have been, we'd have been ahead and we'd have seen what Cork were made of. But after 10 to 15 minutes, it was just one-way traffic, and we just had no defensive cover, I have to be honest. John Conlon, sensational against Tipperary, but because we had 7 defenders really against Tipperary, because Tipperary set up with the sweeper. We didn't have the 7 defenders in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and Cork fully exploited it. They used the puck-out strategy from Gaelic football. They used the cluster, the bunch is whatever you want to call it. Patrick Collins bombing it down, and they just breaking left and right, and we were caught for pace. And restarts, we really got 8 on the restarts, both on our own and on Cork's, and they provided them the platform. They have lovely pacey hurlers, and if you allow them hurl, they'll hurl, and they did hurl and they did damage, but we let them, Derek.
Yeah, defensively I thought it was maybe a little bit strange to go trying the same thing again, particularly in a wide open field like Park. I thought this is wide open, but like the forward line for Tip was slow anyway. Like starting Jason Ford was a crazy admission, I think, and it played into Clare's hands. But when you're talking about Shane Barrett, you're springing Shane Kingston, you're looking at William Buckley, outstanding. Like Brian Hayes, okay, there's a question mark about a throw for the goal, but I think the game was going away from us at that stage anyway. We're not going to whinge about that, but a horses for courses approach I was expecting.
Yeah, we were caught for pace in the half-back, and all over the defensive sector. The Cork just had the legs and could do what they like, and because of their pace, they had so much time on the ball that it just felt, when you were looking out at it, that this wasn't Munster Championship. This was more akin to an old challenge game before we go at it in a couple of weeks' time. And look at, we are where we are. We're 4 weeks out from a quarter final. It isn't a bad route, to be going. I wouldn't fear either of the teams in the quarter final. And then you get a chance to right the wrongs, because if we do get over the quarter final, we will be playing either Cork or Limerick in the All-Ireland semi-final, and we'll have 16 points and 15 point defeats to both of them. You can turn it around. I've seen it done at club level. You won't need to say too many words in the Clare dressing room if we meet either the men in red or the men in green again. But look, there's a bit of a gap. They are the 2 best teams in the country, and can we break that duopoly? We can, but can we beat both of them twice to win an All-Ireland? It's going to be a big ask, Derek.
Yeah, but I have to say I was amazed at the outpouring of negativity among the Clare supporters last night. The couple I spoke to, and indeed the social media fallout, which a lot of the time you're better off kind of dismissing anyway. But 4 weeks, we spoke about it here, 4 weeks, get the injuries right, get refreshed. I'd say take this week off and go to the sunshine, go for a couple of cocktails wherever you're going, and reset and refresh. And you still have 3 weeks then to go to either Galway or Dublin. And the next 2 weeks, in a hurling sense, is going to be all about Cork and Limerick and the 4th meeting of a potential 5, and let them flake the living daylights out of each other in 2 weeks' time, and let the 2 weeks after that be all about the fallout from it. And then all of a sudden, here we are, one more win away from Croke Park. Yeah,
when you look at it like that in today's light, absolutely I agree with you. And even here Friday, I said, I didn't mind if we got beat, but what I did mind was the manner of the defeat.
I know, that's the disappointment.
And I think the Clare supporters were probably negative just directly through it, the last 15 minutes, to see people leaving. Even some Cork supporters left. Like, you could see even some left to avoid the traffic because it was a non-entity out there. And I think that's where the negativity is coming in, not on the result, but just on the manner of the defeat. It's never good enough, Derek, to lose by 15 to Limerick, lose by 16 to Cork. That's 31 points in 2 games against the 2 top teams. We're nowhere near off the pace that much. That couldn't be right.
But I just wonder, in the last quarter, the game was going away.
Oh, we definitely
I think we let it go.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I don't blame them. I do not blame them. Look, I wouldn't have blamed anyone if we'd have went down yesterday and put out a completely brand new 15 and just let lads have hurl and go. If we win, we win. If we don't, so what? We're in the quarter-final. I see the pathway. But it's just worrying that we went with the same unit, same shape as Tipperary. And look, it's, as you said, it suited us against Tip because they're slow. Whatever else Cork are, they're not slow. They're probably the fastest team in the country. And therefore, you know, you got to meet like with like, and you got to play with pace, and you just got to put legs out in the field. Horses for courses. You know, you have to be able to change your team to the opponent. That's the level of the game, because this is elite hurling. This is the elitist level, and there's fine margins. Look, we can't put it down to an aberration because it's happened twice, but we're still in an All-Ireland quarter-final. I still think we're better than Galway and Dublin. I still think we're the third best team in the country. I still think we could beat Cork or Limerick on any given day, but can we beat both from back-to-back in a semi-final and a final? It's a big ask, but you never know.
So just for people that may not be fully aware as to what way it's laying out now, you have Clare in third place in Munster, Offaly in third place in Leinster. They're into the All-Ireland quarter-finals, and Offaly will play the Munster losers, Clare will play the Leinster losers, and on then from your semi-finals. So it's either Dublin or Galway in 4 weeks' time, at the end of June. So look, that's one to look forward to. We'll be keeping an eye obviously on that Leinster final in a couple of weeks' time, and no doubt the lads will be watching that as well. Later on this week, we will be turning our focus very, very much to an All-Ireland under-20 final, which is a fantastic place to be.
Brilliant.
And a right good win for the minors as well down in Thurles against Dublin on Saturday.
Yeah, and an unexpected win, Derek, to be honest, in fairness, and fair play to Ger O'Connell and all his management team. Like, look, they did tremendous work last year, tremendous work every year with the minors, and this crop just suffered this year a bit. But, you know, when the chips were down, they delivered in Thurles, and fair play to them.
And did it without their key man and their captain at the start of the year, I think, as well, Ian O'Brien, who suffered that shoulder injury, I think was in Thurles against Tip on one of that nights as well. So look, at all that's to come in a couple of weeks' time as well. From a football sense, unfortunately, we're talking disappointment as well, but it feels like a different disappointment because the year is now over. Losing to Longford at home in the Tailteann Cup, losing to Offaly at home in the Tailteann Cup, it's depressing stuff.
It's unacceptable, Derek. Like, it is.
I think it's been a disaster of a season. Now, we were very, and still are, positive about Paul Madden coming in as Clare football manager, and there was a huge swell of support behind him at the time. Really good performance in Newry at the start of the league, but got whipped against the Westmeath at home in terms of the performance. And then just it went snowballed from there. And from a championship, like, it's hard to understand. Put in a really good performance for a long time against Kerry. Okay, lost the game, but probably always going to be the case. And then 2 home games to lose in the Tailteann Cup. Like, it just, I can't understand it.
I look at, there's football talk for the last couple of years about the Tailteann Cup and the willingness to be in it, and should we be in it, not be in it, and we're a Sam Maguire team and all that. I think the proof is there now. There is just not a one iota of Clare being in the top 16 teams in the country. And if we faced a Monaghan or a Westmeath again, if we faced any of them in an open pitch on a good day, we're getting clipped.
Well, we've been 3 years in the new Sam Maguire, and that's 9 games, and we've won none of them. Yeah. So I think that stands alone for itself.
And 2 games now in the Tailteann Cup and won none.
And at home.
Yeah. I think, look, I don't want to be critical of anything, but I have to make this point, and it's probably going to get me in trouble. But a couple of years ago, I witnessed the worst county football final I have ever seen in my life. And I have to admit it. It was Éire Óg in his time. It was 2-2 at half time. It was over and back, over and back, over and back, over and back. And it was the same philosophy. And, you know, over and back against Longford, over and out now. I mean, you got to move the ball forward. You got to kick it. It's called Gaelic football. Kick the ball. I went up to Sligo, Derek. I have to say it. The minors kicked the leather off it. Kicked it into Liam Keane. Breaking ball. Thomas Dillon onto it. It was a joy to watch. And if you supply a product that will entertain the people, then you'll fill the park. You know, I heard there was only 800 tickets sold. for the Tailteann Cup game.
Chronic crowd, yeah.
But can you blame the supporters if you're watching the ball being transferred over and back the field from left to right? Yeah. That's 5 years ago football. It will not work in today's world. You've got to head up and you've got to kick that ball in and kick it in fast. And look, we have some outstanding forwards. Aaron Griffin is at a fine season. I look at, I think we might need to find an innovative, young, hungry coach. I don't care if he's from the moon, from Tyrone or from Spain. I don't care. Get him in to look at the new rules, to look at where we're going wrong and to kick the ball. Get in a kicking coach. Kick the football, Derek. It's called football.
Yeah, in my opinion, he's there and he's the current Kilmurray Ricken coach at the minute, and he was with St. Bridget's and he was at Roscommon and he was in Galway, and I leave it at that. But I think a call has to go in over the summer and people will know who I'm talking about. But there was 2 or 3 occasions, 3 in particular, that stood out for me in that second half. We played without a full forward line, which meant that the Longford full back line could actually push up in support. We were getting turned over on the 45 metre line, which meant that when the ball went to ground, they had actually a flood of support runners to come. Obviously kept their 3 back or whatever, but they were turning us over way too high up the pitch. At one stage, Icky Maguire turned over a fantastic ball, took off down the middle, but when he hit the 45 metre line and looked up, there was no one inside. There was no one inside. Yeah. He actually, you could see him physically slowing his run to know would somebody get up and support him. Yeah. The one really good score we got, Mark McInerney kicked a 35-yard ball into Aaron Griffin's breadbasket and he kicked it over. It was the one time we kicked the ball in the home game. Emma McMahon came off the bench, ended up with 4 points in about 15 minutes. He was brilliant on his way back. Owen Cleary was very clearly injured. He had a strapping on his hamstring that was the length and width of his hamstring. He, it wasn't comfortable at all. So, I know it was probably panic stations at that, get him on. And all that being said, it came down to the last kick of the game. We had a 2-pointer opportunity. But I've been talking to a lot of football people in the last 48 hours, and the one word that they've said to me that they felt Clare were lacking, and I'll move on after this, ambition. And it's kind of tying into what you were saying there. There was a lack of ambition in the way we went about the game. We went with the same structure against Kerry as we did against Longford. Now square that circle for me. It doesn't make sense. Icky Maguire was detailed to man-mark the Longford full forward.
No, please.
In the same manner that he was detailed to man-mark David Clifford, which makes no sense whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
There's a lot of questions.
Icky Maguire should be around the middle of the field, give him the ball, and he'd transition you from defence to attack. Yeah. And he can pop it off to someone then who would execute a 40-yard foot pass into space and then go at teams. Ambition, yeah. Entertainment too, Derek. You have to factor in that people are paying money to go in and watch you. Why am I going to go out here and pass the ball across and over and back and keep it? That will win you a football match 4 years ago. And as I said, the Erogan is Diamond County final. The management teams from both are now over Clare football. Yeah. So something has to give. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Anyway, we'll move on because it was more positive for the Camogie, albeit I think Eugene Foodie's in a perfect position. He's done a great job. 3 points on the board, right? But also he has a major stick to bait him with this week before going to Wexford, because it was a game with 45 minutes on the clock. They were in control of flying at Lorna McNamara, lads. If she's not an all-star this year after only the league and 1 championship game, I'll eat my hat. She was unbelievable. Clare Hare, after a little injury at the start of the game, really grew into it. Abby Walsh worked so hard. But it came down to Darren Murphy's brilliance at the end of the game to produce a top-class save up to her left-hand side in the top corner to deny what would have been a levelling goal for Dublin, with Clare having led, I think, by maybe up as far as 8 or 9 points at that 3-quarter mark. So 3 points on the board, dominant over Dublin as they were in the league final, and heading out to Wexford with management ringing in their ears about the way they switched off in the last 10. It's a fantastic position. Yeah, and look, if they can get this result away to Wexford, you're basically nearly cementing your All-Ireland quarter-final spot, because they'll have Offaly at home, and the main opposition to get out is Dublin and Kilkenny. We've beaten Dublin now. Wexford lost to Offaly, although they are Leinster champions, and have a good under-23 campaign behind them. But Clare have got Wexford's number the last couple of times. I think Eugene Foodie's done a tremendous job. Aaron Constantine went in last year with John Carmody, but it's the strength and conditioning of the Clare Camogie team, Derek, that has made the massive improvements. They've really gone to town on the gymming and the running, and they just look a different team than 12 months ago, and a completely transformed unit than 24 months ago. They look shredded, they look lean, they look like if they hit you, they'll hurt you. they're looking more and more like your Corks and Galways and Tips, and that's all you want is progress. I honestly believe Eugene Foodie and his management team are in a great position, and I think we could upset someone in an All-Ireland quarter-final. We really have a top-class player in Lorna Mack. I mean, Abby Walsh. Abby Walsh, to me, is colossal. She has it all, and she's the dark arts too. She's not afraid to give you a clip. you know.
Absolutely. We'll be previewing that game against Wexford. Just a quick word, and as I say, there will be a lot more on this on Sideline View review. But you're in Kilmallock as well. Just a quick word. Munster Senior B for Clare.
Brilliant. Absolutely
badly needed for
brilliant.
Confidence.
Brilliant. And you'll be delighted to know that, 90% of the scores came from your KIB girls.
Six
who really,
of them on the panel.
Really delivered. In fairness, they really did.
Look, I'm not allowed to say it, but sure.
I'll say it for you because it's sun is shining. It was a great weekend for Kilmurray Airbrick. Okay?
Yeah, more on that on Sideline View review as well, folks. And congratulations to all the crew involved in that.